Hello my lovelies, it is time for another book haul, so stay tuned. So I have acquired 37 books since I did my last haul. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to when I have to react to this years down the road. I hope that by then I will have read most, if not all of these. And I'm gonna laugh when I say that in my reaction years down the road. So I have books let's see, these are books that were sent to me, books that I ordered, and I think all of these were from subscription boxes. So we're just gonna start with this pile over here. So the first one I have is a book that was sent to me by my friend Corey, and I'll link her down below. She sent me a couple of old ARCs that she had. The first one is The Last to Go by Amber Smith. This says, how do you let go of something you never had? Junior year for Brooke Winters is supposed to be about change. She's transferring schools, starting fresh, and making plans for college so she can finally leave her hometown, her family, and her past behind. But all her dreams are shattered one hot summer afternoon when her mother is arrested for killing Brooke's abusive father. No one really knows what happened that day, whether it was premeditated or self-defense, whether it was right or wrong, and now Brooke and her siblings are on their own. In a year of firsts, the first year without parents, first loves and first heartbreaks, and her first taste of freedom, Brooke must confront the shadow of her family's violence and dysfunction as she struggles to embrace her identity, find her true place in the world, and learn how to let go. And I think this one's going to be super emotional. Also, sorry if you hear a lot of that. That's Einstein. He's got a tennis ball that he's bouncing around here right now. Okay, sorry if the angle changed, but Einstein. Okay, the next book here is another one that was sent to me by my friend Corey, and it is Things to Do When It's Raining by Marissa Stapley. And this says, when secrets tear love apart, can the truth mend it? May Summers and Gabe Broadbent grew up together in the idyllic Summers Inn in Alexandria Bay. Both were raised under one roof by May's grandparents, Lily and George. A childhood friendship quickly developed into a first love, a love that was suddenly broken by Gabe's unexpected departure. May got over her heartbreak and started a life for herself in New York City. After more than a decade, May and Gabe find themselves pulled back to Alexandria Bay. A lifetime of secrets stand in the way of their happiness. Will they be able to reclaim the past and come together, or will they remain separate islands? Alright, so there's that. Okay, this next one is one, I think I pre-ordered this from Book Depository. It's a special edition of a book that I've got multiple copies of, but it was so pretty I had to get it. It's the 15th anniversary of City of Bones, and I just thought this was so freaking pretty. Love it. If you don't know, that's the first book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, and I love those Shadowhunter books. Okay, next up are a couple of books that I ordered from Barnes & Noble. These weren't pre-orders or anything. They were just having like a buy one, get one 50% off sale. So I ordered These Deadly Games by Diana Urban. This says, let's play a game. You have 24 hours to win. If you break my rules, she dies. If you call the police, she dies. If you tell your parents or anyone else, she dies. Are you ready? When Crystal Donovan gets a message on a mysterious app with a video of her little sister gagged and bound, she agrees to play the kidnapper's game. At first, they make her complete bizarre tasks, steal a test and stuff it in a locker, bake brownies, make a prank call. Then Crystal realizes that each task is meant to hurt and kill her friends one by one. But if she refuses to play, the kidnapper will kill her sister. Is someone trying to take her team out of the running for a gaming tournament? Or has the kidnapper uncovered a secret from their past and wants them to pay for what they've done? this sounds like fun. And the other one I ordered is The Excalibur Curse by Kirsten White. This is the third book in the Guinevere, or the Camelot, what is it? Oh, a Camelot Rising series. I think the first book is called Guinevere or something like that. Something about Guinevere. And this is like an Arthur, Merlin, Guinevere kind of retelling. These next 4 books are books that I did pre-order. I think I pre-ordered them all from Barnes & Noble. So the first one is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shay Earnshaw. And this says, the nightmare didn't end after Christmas. Jack and Sally are truly meant to be. Or are they? Sally Skellington is the official newly minted Pumpkin Queen after a whirlwind courtship with her true love, Jack. Sally adores Jack with every inch of her fabric seams. If only she could say the same for her new role as Queen of Halloween Town. Cast into the spotlight and tasked with all sorts of queenly duties, Sally can't help wondering if she's traded her captivity under Dr. Finkelstein for a different, albeit gilded, cage. But when Sally and Zero accidentally uncover a long-hidden doorway to an ancient realm called Dreamtown, she unknowingly sets in motion a chain of sinister events that will put her future as Pumpkin Queen and the future of Halloween Town itself in jeopardy. Can Sally discover what it means to be true to herself and save the town she's learned to call home? Or will her future turn into her worst, well, nightmare? So excited for that one. I think that will be an excellent, like, Halloween-y book to read. All right, next up is In the Wild Light by Jeff Sentner. And if you don't know, Jeff was one of our season-a-thon authors, and we did have a live show with him. I will link that up here for you to go and check out. Let's see. This says, for every way the world tries to kill us, it gives us a way to survive. Life in small-town Tennessee has never been easy. Cash already lost his mother to an opioid addiction and is losing his pawpaw, who raised him one labored breath at a time. But loss has led him to Delaney Doyle, and she's been his salvation. The trouble is that canoeing on the river and hiking the mountains might be all he needs to fill his soul, but Delaney is meant for so much more. So when Delaney makes a scientific discovery that gets them both full rides to an elite boarding school in Connecticut, Cash has to make the tough decision to leave behind the place of his heart to support the person of his heart. Will the decision to go to Middleford Academy be the thing that finally breaks Cash, or will it be the making of him? And Jeff Sentner definitely has a way of surprising you and ripping your heart out. So I have a feeling this is going to be an emotional read. Okay, my battery is flashing, so let me change that out and I'll be right back. Okay, next up I have Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. And I'm super excited for this one. This says, Bee's theory was right. Forcing a scientist to work with her nemesis triggers explosive results. Like an avenging purple-haired Jedi bringing balance to the mansplained universe, Bee Königswasser lives by a simple code. What would Marie Curie do? If NASA offered Marie her dream neuroengineering project, she would accept without hesitation. Duh. But the mother of modern physics never had to co-lead with Levi Ward. Sure, Levi has soul-piercing eyes, and sure, he caught her in his powerfully corded arms like a romance novel hero when she accidentally damseled in distress on her first day in the lab. But Levi made his feelings toward Bee clear in grad school. Arch nemesis work best when employed in their own galaxies far, far away. Now her equipment is missing, the staff ignores her, and Bee finds her floundering career in somewhat of a pickle. Perhaps it's her occipital cortex playing tricks on her, but Bee could swear she can see Levi softening into an ally, backing her plays, devouring her with those eyes. And the possibilities have all her neurons firing. But when it comes time to actually make a move and put her heart on the line, there's only one question that matters. What will Bee Königswasser do? Okay, next up is My Imaginary Mary by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. And this is a new series. I'm guessing it's called The Lady Marys, since the other one that they did was the Lady Janies. Mary, kisses boys in graveyards, may have inherited the brilliant mind of her late mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, but she lives a drab life above her father's bookstore, waiting for an idea that'll inspire work worthy of her parentage and impress her rakishly handsome and super secret beau, Percy Shelley. Ada, not a poet, and she knows it. Lovelace knows a thing or two about superstar parents, what with her dad being Lord Byron, the most famous poet on earth. But Ada's passions lie far beyond the arts, in mechanical engineering to be exact. Alas, no matter how precise Ada's calculations, there's always a man willing to claim her ingenious ideas as his own. Pan, he's alive, aka Practical Automaton Number 1, is Ada's greatest idea yet. A machine that will change the world if only she can figure out how to make him truly autonomous. Or how to make him work at all. A shocking tale. When fate connects our two masterminds, Mary and Ada learn that they are fae, magical people with the ability to make whatever they imagine become real. But when their dream team results in a living, breathing, thinking Pan, Mary and Ada find themselves hunted by a mad scientist who won't stop until he finds out how they made a real boy out of spare parts. This sounds like fun. Okay, this next book here was not really from a subscription box, but a subscription box company. This was ordered separate from the box. That is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 4th book in the From Blood and Ash series. And I pulled up From Blood and Ash because I didn't want to like pull it off my shelves over there, so I could tell you about it. This says, a maiden, chosen from birth to usher in a new era. Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of a maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, never to experience pleasure, waiting for the day of her ascension. She would rather be with the guards, fighting back the evil that took her family, than preparing to be found worthy by the gods. But the choice has never been hers. A duty. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants for herself. Because a maiden has a heart and a soul and longing, and then Hawk, a golden-eyed guard, honor-bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life. Destiny and duty become tangled with desire and need. He incites her anger, makes her question everything she believes in, and tempts her with the forbidden. A kingdom. Forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. And as the shadow of those cursed draws closer, the line between what is forbidden and what is right becomes blurred. Poppy is not only on the verge of losing her heart and being found unworthy by the gods, but also her life when every blood-soaked thread that holds her world together begins to unravel. Okay, next up is The Prince's Poison Vow by Haley Turner. And this had like a reversible dust jacket, and this is the one I'm using. This is, it was a dangerous thing, Soren realized, to make a person your home. So to read the synopsis, I actually have to look at the other side. This is what the cover did look like. This says, every country is built on revolution. The Warden. Soren is a nameless, stateless man tasked with keeping watch over Maricol's borders. He isn't meant for politics, only dealing with the dead. His past was buried in the poison fields, but after a fateful encounter with a prince, Soren comes to realize he can't keep what magic burns inside him hidden forever. The prince. Vanya Selindel was the spare who survived the house's murderous games to become the imperial crown prince of Celeria. He has a duty to his country, but he'll owe his life to the wardens. Payment of any kind is costly, especially when he's at risk of losing his heart to the man who saved his life. The Cog. Karis Dimlin hears the siren song of clarion crystals better than anyone in Ashian. That skill for inventing has enriched her bloodline, but it's who she can become that will ultimately entangle her with the Clockwork Brigade. The princess, Emerelle Rourke, should have been raised to be a queen of one country. Instead, she is a prisoner of another. Guided by a star god, Emerelle bids her time in a gilded cage, spinning a political web to gain a throne and start a war that the world isn't ready for. All right. Next up is Hunt the Stars by Jessie Mahilick. This says, the critically acclaimed author of Polaris Rising takes readers on an exciting journey with the start of her brand new series about a female bounty hunter and the man who is her sworn enemy. Octavia Zarola would do anything to keep her tiny, close-knit bounty hunting crew together, even if it means accepting a job from Torrin Fletcher, a ruthless former general and her bitter adversary. When Torrin offers her enough credits to not only keep her crew afloat, but also hire someone to fix her ship, Tabby knows that she can't refuse, no matter how much she'd like to. There's just one catch. With so much money on the line, Torrin and his crew insist on joining the hunt. Tabby reluctantly agrees because while the handsome, stoic leader pushes all of her buttons for both anger and desire, she's endured worse, and the massive bonus payment he's promised for a completed job is reason enough to shut up and deal. But when they uncover a deeper plot that threatens the delicate peace between humans and Valofs, Tabby suspects that Torrin has been using her as the impetus for a new war. With the fate of her crew balanced on a knife's edge, Tabby must decide where her loyalties lie. With the quiet Valof who's been lying to her, or with the human leaders who left her squad to die on the battlefield. Because this time, her heart is on the line. Alright, next up is Gallant by Victoria Schwab. So there's no dust jacket for this book. The cover is actually made like this. So there's no synopsis to read you. So I pulled it up on Goodreads. This says, everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. And as with every shadow, there is a place where it must touch, a seam where the shadow meets its source. Olivia Pryor has grown up in Maryland School for Girls, and all she has of her past is her mother's journal, which seems to unravel into madness. Then a letter invites Olivia to come home, to Gallant. When Olivia arrives, no one is expecting her, but Olivia is not about to leave the first place that feels like home. It doesn't matter if her cousin Matthew is hostile, or if she sees half-formed ghouls haunting the hallways. Olivia knows that Gallant is hiding secrets, and she is determined to uncover them. When she crosses a ruined wall at just the right moment, Olivia finds herself in a place that is Gallant, but not. The manor is crumbling, the ghouls are solid, and a mysterious figure rules over all. Now Olivia sees what has unraveled generations of her family and where her father may have come from. Olivia has always wanted to belong somewhere, but will she take her place as a Pryor, protecting our world against the master of the house, or will she take her place beside him? Next up is one that I have not heard many great things about, and I'm a little concerned, but the book is so pretty. That is Book of Night by Holly Black. And this says, Charlie Hall has never found a lock she couldn't pick, a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision she wouldn't make. She spent half her life working for glomists, magicians who manipulate shadows to peer into locked rooms, strangle people in their beds, or worse. These glomists guard their secrets greedily, creating an underground economy of grimoires. And to rob their fellow magicians, they need Charlie Hall. Now she's trying to distance herself from past mistakes, but bartending at a local dive, she's still entirely too close to the corrupt underbelly of the Berkshires. Not to mention that her sister Posey is desperate for magic, and that Charlie's shadowless and possibly soulless boyfriend Vince has been hiding things from her. When a terrible figure from her past returns, Charlie descends into a maelstrom of murder and lies. Determined to survive, she's up against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, glomists, and the people she loves best in the world, all trying to steal a secret that will give them a vast and terrible power. Next up is What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. And this cover is just so freaking pretty. This says, once we worshiped them as gods. For nearly 400 years, the veil has protected us from the Fae of Alphamir. In their absence, our lives have shifted from decadence and sin to survival and virtue under the guidance of the new gods. I've spent my entire life tending to the gardens next to the boundary between our worlds, drawn to the shimmering magic like a moth to the flame. Now they want what the veil has kept from them. All that changes the day that veil shatters, unleashing the Fae upon our world once again. The magic of fairy marks those of us they mean to take, but the mist guard protecting Nothric will kill us all before they let the Fae have us. There's no choice but to flee everything I've ever known, not if I want to live to see my 21st birthday as a free woman. He'll save me from those hunting me, human or Fae alike. But before they can capture me, Calum saves me from the wild hunt. Fae marked and on the run, he is able to fight back in ways I only dream of. From tentative alliance to all-consuming passion, our bond strengthens as the Fae close in and the evil lurks ever nearer. With my life on the line, he is everything I shouldn't dare to want and a distraction I can't afford. I can't seem to stay away, not even with something greater on the line, my heart. It's such a pretty book. Next up is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. And this says, it should have been the perfect summer. Sent to stay with her late mother's eccentric family in London, 16-year-old Joan is determined to enjoy herself. She loves her nerdy job at the historic Holland House, and when her super cute coworker Nick asks her on a date, it feels like everything is falling into place. Then a Good Samaritan attempt gone wrong sends Joan spinning through time, and her life quickly begins to unravel. Her family isn't just eccentric, they're monsters with terrifying hidden powers. And Nick isn't just a cute boy, he's a legendary monster slayer who will do anything to bring them down. As she battles Nick, Joan is forced to work with the beautiful and ruthless Erin Oliver, heir to a monster family that hates her on. She'll have to embrace her monstrousness if she is to save herself and her family, because in this story, she is not the hero. Next, we have Together We Burn by Isabel Ibanez. And this says, an ancient city plagued by dragons. 18-year-old Zarella Zalvidar is a talented flamenco dancer and daughter of the most famous dragonador in Hispalia. People come for miles to see him fight in their arena, which will one day be hers. But disaster strikes during one celebratory show, and in the carnage, Zorella's life changes in an instant. A flamenco dancer who must become a dragon hunter to save her family legacy. With the Dragon Guild trying to wrest control of her inheritance from her, Zorella has no choice but to train and become a dragonator. But when the most talented dragon hunter left in the land, the infuriatingly handsome Arturo Diaz de Montserrat, withholds his help, Zorella cannot take no for an answer. Without him, her world will burn. Okay. Alright, next up we have They Drown Our Daughters by Katrina Monroe. And this says, if you can hear the call of the water, it's already far too late. They say Cape Disappointment is haunted. That's why tourists used to flock there in droves. They'd visit the rocky shoreline under the old lighthouse's watchful eye and fish shells from the water as they pretended to spot dark shapes in the surf. Now the tourists are long gone, and when Meredith Strand and her young daughter return to Meredith's childhood home after an acrimonious split from her wife, the Cape seems more haunted by regret than any malevolent force. But her mother, suffering from early stages of Alzheimer's, is convinced the ghost stories are real. Not only is there something in the water, but it's watching them, waiting for them, reaching out into Meredith's daughter the way it has to every woman in their line for generations. And if Meredith isn't careful, all three women, bound by blood and heartache, will be lost one by one to the ocean's mournful call. Part modern gothic, part ghost story, They Drown Our Daughters explores the depths of motherhood, identity, and the lengths a woman will go to hold on to both. Next is The Woman in the Library by Solari Gentile. And this says, in every person's story, there is something to hide. The ornate reading room at the Boston Public Library is quiet until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone inside to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all clear, 4 strangers who happen to sit at the same table pass the time in conversation. The friendships are struck. Each has his or her own reasons for being in the reading room that morning. It just happens that one is a murderer. Award-winning author Solari Gentile delivers a sharply thrilling read with The Woman in the Library, an unexpectedly twisty literary adventure that examines the complicated nature of friendship and shows us that words can be the most treacherous weapons of all. Next is Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. And this says, we didn't wonder where the magic came from or why it worked. We never asked ourselves, is this ours to take? And I don't know that there is a synopsis in this one. Actually, it looks like there is. Secrets, lies, super bad choices, witchcraft. The suburbs right now. 17-year-old Ivy's summer break kicks off with an accident, a punishment, and a mystery. A stranger whose appearance in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night, heralds a string of increasingly unsettling events. As the days pass, Ivy grapples with eerie offerings, corroded memories, and a secret she's always known. That there's more to her mother than meets the eye. The city back then. Dana has always been perceptive, and the summer she turned 16, with the help of her best friend and an ambitious older girl, her gifts bloom into a heady fling with the supernatural. As the trio's aspirations darken, they find themselves speeding toward a violent breaking point. Years after it began, Ivy and Dana's shared story will come down to a reckoning among a daughter, a mother, and the dark forces they never should have messed with. Okay. Next up is A River of Shadows, and this is by Karina Hale, or Haley. This says, when 24-year-old Hannah Heikkinen's estranged father dies, she reluctantly makes a trip to northern Finland for his funeral. Being in the enchanting land of ice and snow feels miles away from Hannah's busy life back in Los Angeles, especially under the complicated circumstances. But when Hannah discovers that her father's body is missing, that's when things really get weird. A mysterious man, Rasmus, tells Hannah the truth. Her father was a powerful shaman who went into Tunela, the realm of the dead, in order to barter for more life, and has been held captive by Tunai, the god of death. The only way her father can be freed is if she travels with Rasmus into the mythical underworld to rescue him. Willing to do anything to have a second chance with her father, Hannah accompanies Rasmus into the dark and bloody realm, traveling via the River of Shadows, stalked by dangerous creatures, monsters, and the living dead, until they finally come into the haunted kingdom ruled by Death and his family. Only for her to be captured and held prisoner by the god of death himself. Turns out Death is intrigued by Hannah's beauty and fierceness and makes a bargain with her. If she marries him and spends an eternity in the realm of the dead as his wife, he'll set her father free. But even the most noble sacrifices comes with hidden costs, and Hannah's might involve the most unexpected of all things, her heart. And this gives me like a Hades and Persephone / Beauty and the Beast kind of retelling. Alright, next up we have Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. And this says, if you look hard enough at old photographs, we're there in the background. Healers in the trenches, suffragettes, Bletchley Park oracles, land girls, and resistance fighters. Why is it we help in times of crisis? We have a gift. We are stronger than mundanes, plain and simple. At the dawn of their adolescence, on the eve of the summer solstice, 4 young girls, Helena, Leonie, Nahim, and Elle, took the oath to join Her Majesty's Royal Coven, established by Queen Elizabeth I as a covert government department. Now, decades later, the witch community is still reeling from a civil war, and Helena is the reigning high priestess of the organization. Yet Helena is the only one of her friend group still enmeshed in the stale bureaucracy of HMRC. Elle is trying to pretend she's a normal housewife, and Naheem has become a country vet, using her powers to heal sick animals. In what Helena perceives as the deepest betrayal, Leonie has defected to start her own more inclusive and intersectional coven, Diaspora. And now Helena has a bigger problem. A young warlock of extraordinary capabilities has been captured by authorities and seems to threaten the very existence of HMRC. With conflicting beliefs over the best course of action, the four friends must decide where their loyalties lie, with preserving tradition or doing what is right. Next up is The Stand-In by Lily Chu. And this says, how to upend your life. Get fired by gross, handsy boss. Fail to do laundry again. Be mistaken for famous Chinese actress. Fall headfirst into glitzy new world. Gracie Reed is doing just fine. Sure, she was fired by her overly friendly boss, and no, she still hasn't gotten her mother into the nursing home of their dreams. But she's healthy, she's somewhat happy, and she's mostly holding it all together. But when a mysterious SUV pulls up beside her, revealing Chinese cinema's golden couple, Wei Fengli and Sam Yao, Gracie's world is turned on its head. The famous actress has a proposition. Due to their uncanny resemblance, Fengli wants Gracie to be her stand-in. The catch? Gracie will have to be escorted by Sam, the most attractive and infuriating man Gracie's ever met. If it means getting the money she needs for her mother, Gracie's in. Soon, Gracie moves into a world of luxury she never knew existed. But resisting Sam and playing the role of an elegant movie star proves more difficult than she ever imagined, especially when she learns the real reason Fengli so desperately needs her help. In the end, all the determination in the world won't be able to help Gracie keep up this elaborate ruse without losing herself and her heart. Next is Reputation by Lex Croucher. This says, it is a truth universally acknowledged that girls just want to have fun. Bookish, sheltered Georgiana Ellers is spending the summer with her aunt and uncle at their English countryside home. At a particularly dull party, she meets the enigmatic Francis Campbell, a member of the upper echelons of Regency society, who delights Georgiana with her disregard for politeness and propriety. Georgiana quickly falls in with Francis and her friends, who introduce her to a world of drunken debauchery and lavish parties. When she meets the seemingly quiet and straight-laced Thomas Hawksley, sparks fly, but Thomas seems unimpressed with the company she keeps. Soon, Georgiana begins to wonder if the price to enter this world will be higher than she can afford to pay. Set in a time when one's reputation was everything, this hilarious debut explores sex, belonging, and status through the eyes of an unforgettable heroine whom Jane Austen herself would have cheered for. And there's a quote or a blurb here that says, if Bridgerton and Fleabag had a book baby, it would be Reputation. I inhaled it in one sitting. Next is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. This says, for every realm there is a god. For every god there is an heir. For every heir there is a prince. Enter a world of bone and shadow magic, of vengeful gods and defiant chosen ones. In The City of Dusk, the first book in the Dark Gods trilogy from a stunning new voice in epic fantasy. The four realms, life, death, light, and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk. But the gods have withdrawn their favor from the once thriving and vibrant metropolis, and without it, all the realms are dying. Unwilling to stand by and watch the destruction, the four heirs to divine power, Angelica, an elementalist with her eyes set on the throne, Risha, a necromancer fighting to keep the peace, Nicholas, a soldier who struggles to see the light, and Taisha, a shadow-wielding rogue with a reckless heart, will become reluctant allies in the quest to save their city. But the rebellion will cost them dearly. Next up is Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. This says, magicless witch Violet Maxwell wants nothing to do with alpha wolf shifter Lincoln Thorne, the man who broke her fragile teenage heart. But when the two of them are forced by arcane supernatural laws to find mates, Violet and Lincoln agree to fake date their way to a fake mating in order to conjure themselves some time. The joke's on them. When old feelings make a reappearance along with Violet's magic, they both realize there's nothing fake about their feelings. But there are old secrets and looming threats that could snatch away their happily ever after. Again. One thing's for sure, magic doesn't make dating and love any easier. In Not the Witch You Wed, April Asher brings all the hilarity and sweet, sexy moments you love in a romantic comedy, plus a fun dose of magic to this spellbinding new series about being sexy, single, and supernatural in New York City. Alright, next up is A Lullaby for Witches by Hester Fox. This says, two women, a history of witchcraft, and a deep-rooted female power that sings out across the centuries. Once there was a young woman from a well-to-do New England family who never quite fit with the drawing rooms and parlors of her kin. Called instead to the tangled woods and wild cliffs surrounding her family estate, Margaret Harlowe grew both stranger and more beautiful as she cultivated her uncanny power. Soon whispers of witch dogged her footsteps, and Margaret's power began to wind itself with the tendrils of something darker. 150 years later, Augusta Patos takes a dream job at Harlowe House, the historic home of a wealthy New England family that has been turned into a small museum in Tynemouth, Massachusetts. When Augusta stumbles across an oblique reference to a daughter of the Harlowes who has nearly been expunged from the historical record, the mystery is too intriguing to ignore. But as she digs deeper, something sinister unfurls from its sleep. A dark power that binds one woman to the other across lines of blood and time. If Augusta can't resist its allure, everything she knows and loves, including her very life, could be lost forever. Alright, we are on to the last stack here. The first book in this stack is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. And this one says, a way to survive, a way to serve, a way to save. Simi prayed to the gods once. Now she serves them as Mamiwata, a mermaid collecting the souls of those who die at sea and blessing their journeys back home. But when a living boy is thrown overboard, Simi does the unthinkable. She saves his life, going against the ancient decree, and punishment awaits those who dare to defy it. To protect the other Mamiwata, Simi must journey to the Supreme Creator to make amends. But all is not as it seems. There's the boy she rescued, who knows more than he should. And something is shadowing Simi, something that would rather see her fail. Danger lurks at every turn, and as Simi draws closer, she must brave vengeful gods, treacherous lands, and legendary creatures, because if she doesn't, then she risks not just the fate of all Mamiwata, but also the world as she knows it. Next up, and this one I know was from Al Crate Jr., it is The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters. And all the stuff's trying to fall out. This says, Logan Foster has pretty much given up on the idea of ever being adopted. It could have something to do with his awkward manner, photographic memory, or his affection for reciting curious facts. But whatever the cause, Logan and his PP's, prospective parents, have never clicked. Then everything changes when Gil and Margie arrive. Although they aren't exactly perfect themselves, Gil has the puniest sense of humor, and Margie's cooking would send anyone running for the hills. They genuinely seem to care. But it doesn't take Logan long to notice some very odd things about them. They're out at all hours, they never seem to eat, and there's a part of the house that is protected by some pretty elaborate security. No matter what Logan could have imagined, nothing prepared him for the truth. His PPs are actually superheroes, and they're being hunted down by sinister forces. Logan's found himself caught in the middle of a massive battle, and the very fate of the world may hang in the balance. Will Logan find a way to save the day and his new family? Packed with superheroes, supervillains, and epic showdowns between good and evil, debut author Sean Peters shows that sometimes being a hero is just about being yourself. All right, next up we have Forestborn by Elaine Audrey Becker. And this one says, Rora is a shifter, as magical as all those born in the wilderness and Edisfeared. She uses her abilities to spy for the king, traveling under different guises and listening for signs of trouble. When a magical illness surfaces across the kingdom, Rora uncovers a devastating truth. Finley, the young prince... Einstein rolled into the tripod. Finley, the young prince, and her best friend, has caught it too. His only hope is stardust, the rarest of magical elements, found deep in the wilderness where Rora grew up, and to which she swore never to return. But for her only friend, Rora will face her past and brave the dark magical wood, journeying with her brother and the obstinate older prince who insists on coming. Together they must survive sentient forests and creatures unknown, battling an ever-changing landscape while escaping human pursuers who want them dead. With illness gripping the kingdom and war on the horizon, Finley's not the only life that hangs in the balance. Next up is 1,000 Steps Into Night by Tracy Chee. And this one says, Mayuko resolved to fight. She would hurt them if they tried to hurt her, for she was neither a fragile old woman nor a little girl. Yagra, the whisper went through the crowd. Demon. Worse, a female demon. In the realm of Arwara, where gods, monsters, and humans exist side by side, Muiko is an ordinary girl resigned to a safe, if uneventful, existence as an innkeeper's daughter. But when Mayuko is cursed and begins to transform into a demon with a deadly touch, she embarks on a quest to reverse the curse and return to her normal life. Aided by a thieving magpie spirit and continuously thwarted by a demon prince, Mayuko must outfox tricksters, escape demon hunters, and negotiate with feral gods if she wants to make it home again. But with her transformation comes power and freedom she never even dreamed of, and she'll have to decide if saving her soul is worth trying to cram herself back into an ordinary life that no longer fits her, and perhaps never did. From New York Times bestselling author and National Book Award finalist Tracy Chee comes a Japanese-influenced fantasy brimming with demons, adventure, and plans gone awry. Next is Anatomy, a love story by Dana Schwartz. And this says, a gothic tale full of mystery and romance. Hazel Sennett is a lady who wants to be a surgeon more than she wants to marry. Jack Kerr is a resurrection man who's just trying to survive in a city where it's too easy to die. When the two of them have a chance encounter outside the Royal Edinburgh Autonomous Society, Hazel thinks nothing of it at first. But after she gets kicked out of the renowned surgeon Dr. Beechman's lectures for being the wrong gender, she realizes that her new acquaintance might be more helpful than she first thought. Because Hazel has made a deal with Dr. Beechman. If she can pass the medical examination on her own, he will allow her to continue her medical career. Without official lessons, though, Hazel will need more than just her books. She'll need corpses to study. Luckily, she's made the acquaintance of someone who digs them up for a living. But Jack has his own problems. Strange men have been seen sulking around cemeteries. His friends are disappearing off the streets, and the dreaded Roman fever, which wiped out thousands a few years ago, is back with a vengeance. Nobody cares until Hazel. Now Hazel and Jack must work together to uncover the secrets buried not just in unmarked graves, but in every heart of Edinburgh society. Alright, next up we have A Daughter of the Trolls, a Numia Parable by Mackenzie Catron. And this says, are you afraid of the boogeyman? 18-year-old Sparrow can't remember a time when she wasn't, and neither can her mother, or the trolls, imps, gnomes, and fairies who all live in the glade and call it home. Though Sparrow's weak heart keeps her wheelchair bound, she and her mother have dedicated their lives to keeping the glade safe, especially from the worst boogeyman of them all, the skin-stealing, poison-ingesting witch called Black Annis. But one night, Sparrow makes a terrible mistake and everything she once held dear is taken from her. The glade is no longer a sanctuary, and the only way Sparrow can save her mother and her friends is to journey out into a monster-ridden world that wasn't made for her or her wheelchair. Joined by her half-goblin friend Rush, Sparrow will have to confront her fears before the ones they love are lost forever. Next is Ecstasia by Claire Legrand. And this says, "My name is unimportant. All you must know is that today I become one of the 4 saints of Haven. The elders will mark me and place the red hood on my head. They will give me my true name, and with my sisters I will stand against the evil power that lives beneath the Black Mountain, an evil that has already killed 9 of our village's men. I will tell no one of the white-eyed beasts that follow me, or the faceless gray women tall as houses, or the girls I saw kissing in the elm grove. Today I become a saint of heaven. I will rid my family of my mother's shame at last and save my people from destruction. I am not afraid. Are you?" From New York Times bestselling author Claire Legrand comes an emotionally searing and lyrically written novel that beckons readers to follow its powerful heroine into a world filled with secrets and blood, where the truth is buried in lies and a devastating power waits seething for someone brave enough to use it. Okay. Next is Queen of the Tiles by Hannah O'Keefe. And this says, "Catalyst, 13 points. Noun, substance that speeds up a reaction without itself changing." When Najwa Buckery walks into her first Scrabble competition since her best friend's death, it's with the intention to heal. Perhaps it wasn't the best idea to choose the very same competition where said best friend, Trina Lowe, died. It's macabre, but Najwa finds meaning in the gesture because she's not ready to give up Trina just yet. But the same can't be said for all other competitors. With former Scrabble queen Trina gone, her friends are eager to take the throne. All's fair in love and Scrabble, but all bets are off when Trina's formerly inactive Instagram starts posting again with cryptic messages suggesting that maybe Trina's death wasn't as straightforward as everyone thought, and maybe someone at the competition had something to do with it. As secrets are revealed and the true colors of her friends are shown, it's up to Najwa to find out who's behind those mysterious posts, not just to save Trina's memory, but to save herself. This one sounds really good. Next up is Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches by Kate Salesa. And this says, 17-year-old Eleanor is the last person in Salem to believe in witchcraft, or to think that her life could be transformed by mysterious forces. After losing her best friend and first love, Chloe, Eleanor has spent the past year in a haze, vowing to stay away from anything resembling romance. But when a handwritten guide to tarot arrives in the mail at the witchy souvenir store where Eleanor works, it seems to bring with it the message that magic is about to enter her life. Cynical Eleanor is quick to dismiss this promise until real-life witch Pix shows up with an unusual invitation. Inspired by the magic and mystery of the tarot, Eleanor decides to open herself up to Pix and her coven of witches, and even to the possibility of a new romance. But Eleanor's complicated history continues to haunt her. She will have to reckon with the old ghosts that threaten to destroy everything, even her chance at new love. Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches is an atmospheric and romantic coming of age about learning to make peace with the past in order to accept the beauty of the present. And then last but not least, I have What Souls Are Made Of, a Wuthering Heights remix by Tasha Suri. And this says, sometimes lost things find their way home. Yorkshire, Northern England, 1786. As the abandoned son of a Lascar, a sailor from India, Heathcliff has spent most of his young life maligned as an outsider. When he's brought to a household on the Yorkshire moors, he clings to his birth father's language, even though it makes the children of the house call him an animal, and the maids claim he speaks gibberish. Catherine is the younger child of the estate's owner, a daughter with light skin and brown curls, and a member whom nobody talks about. Her father is grooming her for a place in proper society, and that's all that matters. Catherine knows she must mold herself into someone well-mannered and marriageable, even though such an effort might destroy her spirit. As they occasionally flee into the moors to escape judgment and share the half-remembered language of their unknown kin, Catherine and Heathcliff come to find solace in each other. Deep down in their souls, they can feel they are the same. But after the death of Catherine's father, the household's treatment of Heathcliff only grows more cruel, and the relationship between him and Catherine becomes more strained and threatens to unravel. For how can they ever be together when loving each other, and indeed loving themselves, is as good as throwing themselves into poverty and death? Alright, so these are all of the books that I have hauled this month. Have you guys read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!